things that you do to your phone on a daily basis. I'm going to type that in the Facebook chat as well. It's right there in our Zoom room. You'll be able to connect that sooner than later. Thank you for joining Oasis Spiritual Center. And we are ready for Serendipity Sunday, Greg. Take it away.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I pray things are well with each of you as you rise into this new day, this next day, today that we call the presence now. Well, welcome to Serendipity Sunday. I am Asar, your facilitator. Each and every Sunday morning, we are out here at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. There's two spaces that you can occupy. You can occupy either the space of the Zoom room, and those of you who are lined with Oasis Spiritual Center should be coming in through the Zoom room, and you do that by having registered or by LinkedIn, being linked in from the email you received today. Now, if you're on Facebook Live, we welcome you also. On my page, there is a link that is above the advertisement for today's message. And if you click that link, it will take you directly into the Zoom room. Now, if you're not in the Zoom room and you want to stay on Facebook Live, you're welcome. We're going to ask that you follow the feed. If you would be so kind, hit share, like, make comments throughout the entire presentation, jot down your questions. At the conclusion of this morning's message, we run about 20 to 30 minutes. We will have the opportunity to have a conversation. So it's not just an exchange of information, but it's an opportunity for us to communicate with one another. It's such a beautiful day today. So let us start with a breathing exercise to bring us present to right here, right now. So wherever you are, I would like you to do this. Be present to what you're doing right at this very moment. Don't find yourself trying to multitask. You won't get what you can get out of this message if you find yourself split between what I'm saying and what someone else is saying. So if you need to, close your door, put a sign on it, do not disturb, I'll be out shortly, or go into the bathroom and just chill. Well, right where you are, take a deep breath in through your nostrils, breathing in deeply, expanding your lungs to full capacity, holding that breath for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now releasing that breath through your mouth, relaxing all the way down to the bottom of that breath. And when you get to the bottom of that breath, you just place a soft smile on your face, a smile of gratitude, of appreciation. Now let us move into our next breath together. Breathing in deeply through your nostrils, expanding your lungs to full capacity. Holding that breath, imagining now a sphere of light pulsating from the heart center, touching every cell, every system, every organ, the entirety of your being, bringing it into resonance with wholeness and life. Now exhale, releasing, relaxing, allowing, letting go. And at the bottom of that breath, at your own pace, continue to breathe in and out and come back present to right here, right now. That's a wonderful way to start your day. And we do it each and every weekday morning on Mondays through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6:15. And we have a message that's usually associated with it. So we encourage you all to join us. That is Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time for morning meditations. And then on Tuesdays, we encourage you to drop back in here. Now, there's a different link. On Tuesday, you must be registered for Transformation Tuesday. You can grab it inside of the Zoom room, or you can participate on our Oasis Spiritual Center Facebook page. It is not broadcast to the general page, so you must be either on the Facebook page or signed up. I do encourage you to sign up for Transformation Tuesdays because you will find information will be sent to you, because transformation has little to do with just gaining information. Transformation is taking the information and taking it to application. And when you apply that information, you will see that transformation begins to unfold. So that's Monday through Fridays, and then that's Tuesday. And then on Saturdays, we have Saturday School. Saturday School is a place where you come to, and I'm teaching lessons of regarding divine science or science of mind and positivity, those things that you can add to your toolbox. So join us in one of those three ways. Additionally, we have a website, www.theplaceofpossibilities. You'll find that in the link here, or you can look on the screen and you'll see it there on the screen. Go out there sometime today after this message, perhaps, and poke around and see what's going on. We've been in this virtual space for quite a long time. It wasn't motivated by the advent of the virus that caused many churches to add this platform to that which they were offering to their constituents or to their membership. We've been out here for a long time. So great. So let us ease into this morning's message. We started with Sister V asked all of you a question. So what are three things is important for you to do to your phone each day? Today's message has to do with managing your spirituality in the same way that we manage our phones. So I want you guys, each of you who are on the line this morning, to type in at least one thing you do to manage your phone. But if you got three things, just three simple statements or words, what you do, and let's see how close you come to the things that I think are essential and important for you to do each and every day if you truly want to have a really powerful and strong spiritual walk. Spirituality. I'm looking for my glasses here to clean my glasses. That's fine. I don't see that where it's at. Oh, here you go. Hold on a second. So go ahead and put that in right now. V, are they responding?
We do have a few people with some answers here.
So good. So I'll see how close they come to. So I really, if you're on the Zoom room in particular, I want you to at least put one thing. I hope you're not just coming in as an observer. I would like you to come in as a participant also.
They're not hanging in the kitchen buffet.
It's important. V, you need to mute out your side. Good. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started into this morning's message. I see some of you are saying some of the things that you do. Some of you keep it charged. Some of you sanitize it. Let me see what else is out there this morning. So those are the things I'm looking at. Pick it up, look at it first thing in the morning. Some people and
keep the sound appropriate. That's an interesting one.
The sound is appropriate. All of those things. Let me see what's going on the Facebook side. If we got some people there, are we got anything on the Oasis page?
We do. Felicity Joyce says the sound is muted. Oh no, that was about me. She said check weather, check Facebook, and send emails. Dorothy said check to see if there's any messages. And then Liz Thurman came in and said she does her devotional readings, checks and send emails, and plays games.
Awesome. Good. So there's a lot of So guys, there's a lot of things that we can do. I think the phone is a great metaphor. They're so important to us. They're essential. Not just our phones. Some of us have all types of mobile devices that we connect with the world. Can you imagine what this pandemic would have been like if you did not have access to a device? Can you imagine what it would have been like to be isolated in your home with that's you, in many cases by yourself, or you and your children, or you and your spouse? That could be a very interesting time. I don't think a lot of people would have made it. I think the mental health of many people would have been challenged. But because of our phones, it gives us the ability to connect and to have experiences outside of our locality. So this morning I want to talk about that. I want to talk about, first of all, our phones, how important our phones are. Our phones are more important to us than many of us realize. We spend an astronomical amount of money on just the purchase, not even talking about what the phone can do. For many people have these phones and have no clue of all the features that these phones have. How many of you got any level of training, in-depth training about your particular phone? You properly purchase your phone based on what others have said or encouraged you to purchase, or you may have saw a advertisement about a particular phone, and it had one feature. Many people are purchasing phones because of the camera, so they are purchasing the phone not just as a communication device, but it's also a device that we can use to play games. We can use to take pictures, and matter of fact, it's the phones have just put Kodak out of business because we can take pictures instantly and share them instantly. Do you anybody on the line that remembers the old days where you used to have these little cameras that had these flash bulbs? And then the so that when you take that picture and it will be exposed, and after a minute it comes to light and you see that picture. But then the oldest of days, you had to you take the pictures. They're on a camera roll. You take the roll into the photo mat or whatever place that you get them exposed at, and you wait a period of time. That wasn't getting no pictures back. If they could have your pictures back in an hour, back in the old days, you was cooking with fire. But we get our pictures now instantly. Not only do we get our pictures, but if it's overexposed, we have features on our phones that we can adjust it. So our phones do a lot of things, particularly in the area of capturing photos. But there's more to your phone than the ability to capture the photos. So each of us have various types of phones. Usually, you have either have an Android or you have a smartphone, which is or you have an iPhone. I guess Androids and iPhones are both smartphones. That means these phones has the ability to operate as a small computer in essence. Some individuals who don't even have computers or access to a computer use their smartphones as their computers also. Now, there are some advantages to having a computer over having just a smartphone to try to do run some of the applications, and we're going to talk about that. So when you look at your phones, many of you have spent a large sum of money. Some of you are on payment plans for your phones, and the phone, in order to get you to purchase a phone, they tie it to a plan. So you have a plan, and part of your plan has to do with how much space storage you have, has to do with your connectivity. All of those things are part of our plans, and so it's practically take someone with a doctorate in the managing a phone. When you go to buy a phone, you have to talk to someone and say, hey, look, this is what I want to do with the phone. This is what I need it to be able to do for me. And that helps the person who is there to sell you the proper phone. But many people, most of us, are oversold when it comes to our phones. Now, I have a phone, as you can see here, my phone. I keep it in a case. It has a protective lens on it, also a screen on it. This is one of my phones. I have actually three phones. I have my personal phone. I have the business phone for Solutions for Living, Oasis Spiritual Center. Then I have my phone for work, which happens to be a iPhone also. So I'm a Mac person. I have a MacBook Pro. I have a Mac Air. I have a large screen Mac, 27-inch. I'm part of the Mac Nation. That's magnificent. So I operate inside of the Mac um, um, product line for a variety of reasons, and maybe some of those will come forward as we speak this morning. So the first thing I want to say to you is this: so we manage our phones, and most of us manage our phones in the best way that we know to manage them. Why? Because we've never read the manufacturer's plan. And because we haven't read the manufacturer's plan, we do what we think is the best, not realizing that the version of phone that you have today may not require you to handle it the way you've handled your previous phones. You may not need to charge it all the way up, or may not need to let it go all the way uh, uh, down to zero before you start to charge. Each phone is different. So we're going to look at, first of all, you have to know the product. You have to know the phone. And we have to know the features that come with that body type. So I'm saying that for yourself, you have to know who you are. You have to know what features you have. You have to know what's your operating, which operating system is important or essential for you to have. You cannot run a Android phone with the operation of the iOS of the iPhone. They're two distinct phones, and each of them are ran differently. Likewise, you there's two distinct people in the earth. There are those who are human beings, and then there are those who are divine spiritual beings. Every divine spiritual being has inside of them a human being. Every human being has access to the the spiritual essence of who they are, but most of them don't. The average person that we run into are mere humans. They're here in the earth realm to have a seeking to have a spiritual experience, not realizing that we are divine spiritual beings here to have a uh, human experience and to master that experience. So if you begin to really manage your spiritual selves in a proper way, you'll find that you're going to have much more success in life. So let's look at three things I think are essential for you to really have a healthy spiritual life. So the first one, I'm gonna all three. One is your connectivity, your your downloads, and your power. So we're going to talk about those three. Now, you may have mentioned them in some other wording, some other way, but those are three essentials that I want to focus on today. Now, there's many more. We're going to go into some of them on a deeper level on this coming Tuesday. But I want to start with the very first one. I want to start with connectivity or your plan, knowing what plan you're on. And all of us, this is something you may not do it every day, but when you first got that phone, you it was important for you to know what was the plan that you're associated with. Now, the thing that we all do every day is we check the connectivity. And a lot of times we don't have to go to the screen to say whether or not you're connected to Wi-Fi or if you're connected to 5G, 3G. We know it automatically. Depending on what application you are running, it will tell you you are not connected to the proper source. And because you're not connected to the proper source, you can't run that program. John chapter 15 is a great place to start when you talk about connectivity in the NIV version of the Bible, in John chapter 15, it talks about, I am the vine, I am the true vine, and my father is the gardener. Okay. I am the true vine, and my father is the gardener. It says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If a person remains in me, and I in him or her, she will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do no thing. So here's the point I'm making here. You know that your phone is worthless if it's not connected to source, to a power. If it's not connected to a source that and gives you the ability to run the various programs. Excuse me. So the first thing is your phone. You have applications. Some applications can run just on 3G. Some applications require at the minimum 5G. But there are some applications that requires that you are connected to a, a powerful source of download. That is the Wi-Fi. And all of us, when we leave our homes and we go to a place of business and we're sitting there while we're waiting in the line to be received, many times we start playing with our phones, and usually what will come onto your screen it'll say that the Wi-Fi for that particular place you're in is available to you. That's called public Wi-Fi. So many of us, we know that if we're not connected to our Wi-Fi, we try to get connected to a Wi-Fi immediately, because many of the programs, applications we want to run requires a Wi-Fi connection versus the 3G, 5G connection. Now, here's something you got to be careful with. When you're connecting to the Wi-Fi of a place or business, you must be very careful because it's a public Wi-Fi. And so when you're connected to a public Wi-Fi, you perhaps are putting yourself in position for your data or your information to be hijacked. And so you got to be very careful when you're doing the public Wi-Fi thing. But here's the point I'm making as far as connectivity. All of us want to have the best connection because we realize to have the best connection, we must in order to run certain programs or applications that we want to engage in, we must have a strong connection, a bandwidth that can allow that the interaction between what's on my phone and perhaps the place of origination. So Wi-Fi is important. And so each morning when you rise, you need to be checking for your connectivity. Okay. Some of us go to bed disconnected. Some of us have yet to be connected to Wi-Fi. We've been running on 3G. We've been running on 5G. And for me, 5G is like running on your sensory realms. We have a lot of people who are connected to source and source is connected to them. But because they have not chosen to access the Wi-Fi of that relationship, they're running on the 5G, the sensory realm, what they can see, what they can hear, they can taste, what they can touch, the experience of the realm of reality in the five senses. That's fine, but that does not allow you to run God's program. Now, what do I mean by running God's program? Okay, the second thing we want to look at is downloads. Why is it important that you look at the downloads? Because I know for the iPhone, as well as probably for the Androids, that you get notifications that there are maybe features or there's a new upload that you or download you need to load, a new program you need to load. So that's important. How important is it? So important that God does the same thing that or it desires to do the same thing. Each night when you go to sleep, normally like at night, if there's a major upgrade that you need to make to your phone, you don't do it through the course of the day because you're so busy using your phone. What you usually do is tell it, well, I'll run it at night. You'll set it to run during the course of the night. So while you have your phone on charger, because many of the downloads require that your phone be on a charge, while you have your phone on the down on the charger and you retired for the night, your carrier begins to download certain features to upgrade your phone. We find that similar thing happens to us when we go to the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 15. It tells us, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, not just when you sleep, but when you get to a certain type of sleep, in the slumberings upon the bed, while you're resting on your bed, then it opens the ears of men and sealeth instructions that he may withdraw man from his purpose and pride from man. So here's we see here. I love that set of scriptures in Job 33, verses 15 through 17. You get a chance, I want you to check it out. It says basically when you go to sleep at night, now, if you enter into a certain sleep state, many of us don't enter into that state every night because we go to sleep, we take into our sleep the concerns of this day, of the day you've just experienced. You take into the sleep the things that have you anxious, not only from sunset to sunrise, and from sunrise to sunset. You're anxious about something. So what we find that we have to make sure we go to the state of sleep, just like as your phone. You have to cut it down. You have to cut it off at times in order that it can do its maintenance. Now, and it's connected, your phone is connected in some way. I'm not going to get into the technical aspects of it, but it's connected to your provider. And when you cut it off at night, power it down, it's still running. It still have a level of connectivity that it can download whatever needs to be downloaded. So we are the same way. Not only is it important that we download, but we also have to be familiar with or take on the responsibility of deleting programs that don't serve us. Many of our phones come wired with certain programs that platforms that we could use, but we even don't use them, but they are taking up space. So you have to go through your phone and you make sure you cut them off So that way it's not drawing on your energy, it's not using up your space. So you do that. Same thing with you. Every day you need to be downloading beliefs. Okay, you download the things that's going to expand your capability, and you delete. So sometimes you need to go through and you delete the beliefs. That's why the Bible tells us, "Be ye transformed." How? By the renewing of your mind. And so these downloads that you get give you access to an expanded potential. But now you can have a download, but you're not familiar with the features of it. And so you're not really using it. And you can have a download that is in existence that takes the place of some other feature that you have on your phone that you haven't gotten rid of. So we have to learn to, one, get rid of old thoughts. So we got to get rid of old beliefs that once served us, but no longer serves us. So when you learn something that expands beyond what you already knew, it's okay to let it go and not even defer back to it, but become familiar with the new. That's why the transformation is, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." That is daily. Now, it has nothing to do with your brain, it has to do with when you are asleep. You are allowing God to download, source the download into you. Now, when you rise, one of the reasons we go into meditation is the process of powering ourselves up. And that's the next thing we're going to talk about. So, during the course of the sleep, you get instructions, you get a system reset. And it is important that your phone has that happen, that you have that experience also. So you got to make sure you have all the pertinent downloads and features that is has been released from the manufacturer, that your phone can operate with optimal capability. So the third thing I wanted, so you got your connectivity. When you rise, you're looking at that. You're checking it. There's some things, some games you may want to play that if you don't have the proper connectivity, maybe something happened over the course of the night and the Wi-Fi is kicked off at your home and you're trying to play your game. So the first thing you're going to do is troubleshoot. You're going to say, is the Wi-Fi connected in my residence? And if it's not, you can't play that game, and you're on the horn calling somebody, say, "Hey, look, I need to get into this particular application, but the Wi-Fi is down." We talked about the downloads. It's important that you realize, in addition to the connectivity, the essential feature there was to be connected with source. That's your Wi-Fi. You and source are one. We talked about that yesterday, how it's important that we don't have a dual nature, but we become the oneness with God. That's so essential. To do the things of God, you have to be running like God. So the download is important. You got to get that. That means you need rest. The download, some things will just be given to you. You don't have to work for them. You don't have to mull over them. Just sometimes getting quiet, resting, going to sleep, allowing your entire physical being to reset itself. Some of our phones, we have them on 24. Sometimes people go days without ever cutting their phone off. They won't cut it off, but they'll charge it, and that's the power piece. It's important that we all know how important power is. We know that those phones hold a particular charge for a certain length of time. If that phone powers down, I don't care how many programs you have on it. If you don't have access to them, then the phone is useless. And the same thing with you. If you're not connected to source, you're useless to source. That is, if you are not powered up, each day you got to get powered up. Ephesians chapter 6 tells us, finally, be strong in the Lord. Okay. We're talking about the universal principles, and in his or its mighty power. So our power is found in source, not in us. We are our source is resourced, but the source that we have comes from source. So we have to always know that there's power available to us. When you look at your phone, That's one of the features you're constantly checking. What is the power level? And if it's not appropriate, then there are certain things you won't do. You won't try to run certain programs because you know that's going to take a lot of power until you can get connected. Now, connected to the right source. You know, the power isn't in the cord, so you can have the cord and it can be connected to your phone. But if your phone isn't connected to a power source, that's what you always got to do. You sometimes you can plug your phone up and not paying attention, not plugging it into the wall, or that particular socket is not working. You ever did that? You're at a new place and you plug your phone in. You plug it into your phone, then you plug it into the wall. You don't pay attention, and you just think the phone is being powered, only to find out that you lose the little power that you have because there was no power at the source. And so we have to make sure we're connected to the proper source, that there's energy coming into the place that you're connecting your phone to. Likewise, you have to stay connected to source. How do we connect to source? We connect to source through simple breathing exercise of meditation that recharges you. And while you're being charged, guess what? You are receiving the download. So you get downloads while you're asleep at night. Major downloads come then, but then you can get the downloads that are necessary through the course of your day to reset your day. So here you are, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You've been dealing with this situation at the job for all morning, trying to figure it out. Why don't you step back, push it, close your door, maybe go into the bathroom, go into a stall, and just get on the throne and breathe, focus, bring it home, and just do it for 20 seconds. And you've been surprised what that simple reset will do. And by the time you get back to your desk and open that, whatever you're dealing with, and begin to look at it, you will find you have the power, you have the solution, because everything you have is already in you. But usually, what happens, we get so many distractors on the outside, and we're going about figuring it out from what we already know versus being available to the power that's within us, the all knowingness is available to us, and we figure it out. So those are three essential things that you should take on that will enhance your spirituality. That is your connectivity. What plan are you on? Okay. Many other plans of man, but the end thereof is destruction. You got to make sure you got the right plan, that you're connected to the right. So see, religion is a plan. You got the Baptist plan, you have the Pentecostal plan, you have the Methodist plan, you have the Episcopalian plan. So we have all these plans. Okay, and at some point those plans have certain features, uh, but we want to know that we have the proper plan, the newest plan. And so the plan is the plan of spirituality, not the plan of religious. Don't be tied to the sensory realm. Those plans are like 3G, 5G, but you need to get the Wi-Fi, and true spirituality runs on Wi-Fi. That is being connected to the vine, knowing that the oneness of being. You don't count it as robbery to consider yourself equal with God. You don't count it as you're creating a statement that has no validity to it. You realize that I and source are one. And I don't even say I am the Father, because it takes God down, brings God down to the level of humanness, when God is a spirit. And even I always like to use the term God, source. I like source because source is where it has to do with energy, and everything is about energy. So that's important. Uh, and know that through the course of the night, that situation is correcting itself. You know that things are always working out for you if you give yourself the opportunity to rest in that, not always trying to work it out. Don't always be trying to figure it out. Take a chill pill. Sometimes in the course of your day, you might need to take a nap. A nap is the easiest way to totally reset yourself. There was a period in my life where I was like in a 10-year period. I was in between a lot of things. I was in that land of becoming, and I didn't know how to. I didn't have an answer for something I needed to take care of at that day. And I remember that one day, just being in my office, and I took a nap. I said, "Okay, I'm just going to take a nap." And when I woke up from my nap, the answers were there. Matter of fact, I got a phone call from someone with an opportunity. So sometimes we don't, when you find yourself always busy doing and you're not just inside of being, it also tells you that you don't trust. How many times have you put your phone on the um, charger only to go back and forth to see, because you want to make sure that charger is working? And the same thing, we don't really trust God. That's why we keep asking or going back checking. Let it go. If you really decree a thing and believe it is so, you let it go and you move on to the next thing. Okay, don't, if you're expecting wholeness, healing, and health to manifest, you don't stay focused on wholeness, healing, and health. You do the work you need to do, and then you move on and begin and experience life. And before you know it, the thing you weren't able to do, now you're able to do. You couldn't walk a block, and now you find yourself walking 2 blocks, because you took your attention from what was, and you began to be present to what is the new possibility. And it comes all down to this: being powered. We need to be constantly charged up. I imagine there's 2 lights. We're powered by a solar system. You can be powered by the wall for your phone, but you are powered by 2 lights. The greater light is the sunlight. As you run through the day, as you go through your day, and the sun rays come down upon you, they're energizing you. They're powering you up. And then guess what? When you get into the night, you don't require as much power, and you shouldn't, because you need to slow it down. There's another light that powers you, and it's called the moonlight. The moon doesn't have any light of its own. It's reflecting the greater light, which is the sunlight that is on another side of the world. But see how Source takes care of you, thinks of you. It knew that you will have a nighttime, a dark hour. And even in the darkest of hours, the light still gets to you. And guess what? Your cells store that up. And so when you feel like you're spent, you don't have the ability to move, go on, be strong in the Lord, not in the power of your might. Know that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Know that your power is a power that is not found in that which man is able to manufacture, but it's a power that's available to you, that's in you, and you can use. So our phones are a good example of the attention we need to be given to our physical man, to our spiritual selves. We have to make sure we keep it clean. Okay, we can do that. We have to make sure we cut them off properly. We got to make sure that another thing, security. We don't let everybody handle our phones. Okay, I know I very seldom let anybody touch my phone. It is too important to me. Not that I have anything to hide in it, but these phones are, if you're using it properly, I know for me, like I use my one phone, I can do a lot with any one of my clients who call me. When they pop up on the screen, and then I know who they are, have notes in there, so I can bring myself back up to date as to the last conversation. That's one of the reasons I don't let people handle my phone, because it's my business phone also. I'm mindful because somebody may be looking at my phone, and one of my clients pop up, and so it's none of their business. So that's why I'm very particularly, anybody been around me for any little time know that I'm always with my phone, and I frequently check my phone. So your phones are something that you should take some time and look at. How important is your phone to you? What are some of the things that you do to maintain that phone? And then transfer some of those same things over to your spiritual practices. You want to make sure you're getting rest, you're keeping it, you're clean, your thoughts. It's the word says, my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways yours. And so you want to make sure your thoughts become the same thoughts of God or source, and that your ways are those which are reflective of its ways. So you have to begin to make sure your phone is, I mean, we always making sure our phones are properly taken care of. You got to make sure you are properly taken care of. Now, here's the worst thing that I see happens. We have these smartphones and we don't use them. Like, we don't use them to set our calendars. We try to keep a lot of stuff in our heads, where you can just put a lot of that stuff right in your phone and you get alerts. So you'll never miss an appointment again. But the point I'm making here is, read the manufacturer's manual. Know what this thing can do. It's likewise, we read the Bible. We read holy scriptures. We read books of wisdom. that talks about what we have the capacity to do. And many times it gives us the instructions on how to do it. So you want to get the most out of your phone, you read the manufacturer's manual. Or even not even that, you can go into the carrier that you purchase your phone from and say, hey, I need some assistance. And I recommend that for the seniors all the time, that you go in or you call them and say, I need somebody to walk me through the features of this phone. Okay, this is what I want to do, but I'm not able to do it. Can I do it with this phone? Do I need to upgrade my phone? And some of you, it's time for you to get an upgrade from with Source. It wants you to be able to operate in a more powerful way. So there you have it this morning. Here's a metaphor: your phone. Get the message of what it's all about. Awesome, awesome. That's all I have this morning. If this message has been a blessing to you, you will be able to play it back to get deeper into it, or even get another upload that expands beyond what I have said this morning. You can find more about this ministry by going to www.theplaceofpossibilities.com. That's the website. Poke around out there, find out what we believe, find out what we're doing. In addition, if this ministry has been a blessing to you this morning, if there's a word that kind of dropped in on you that is life changing, consider being a blessing to this ministry. How do you do that? By sowing a seed. Now, we believe in giving from the heart. So I don't ask you to give a particular amount, but I say give from the heart. And as you give from the heart, the word of God says, give and it shall be given to you. So if you want to sow into this ministry today, you can go to that website, which is listed there in the feed, and you go over to the giving section. You can give by PayPal, you can give by Cash App, you can give by way of Tithe. It's called the Tithely app, and you can text to give. Now, here's another thing I want to say: the urgency of giving. Many of you all want something from God right now, or Source right now, or want something to happen right now. But when it comes time to making a right now decision, we don't take right now actions. Sometimes we have good intentions and we put it off and it never comes to pass. So put first things first. So if this ministry again has been a blessing, consider being a blessing to this ministry. That's all I have to this today. Let us move into the green room. All right, V, come on back and let's go into a conversation.
This was really good. I love the metaphors, and I think everybody did too. We didn't even know you were a poet, Greg, right during National Poetry Month. Perfect.
Did I speak some poetry?
That was some poetry. Those metaphors were really good. I mean, as a millennial, you were talking my language. Let's
Awesome.
be honest. We are the cell phone era. And I will be honest, you all, I keep up with my cell phone like I keep up with my kids. I
Yeah.
used to be ashamed to admit that, but here's the deal. I'm a full-time journalist. So my cell phone is my work. So when you mention all the things you can use for your cell phone, we really can be productive with them as entities in our life. But I absolutely love how you merge that into our spirituality.
Check this out.
Courtney Faith agrees. She says that yes, this was a good message. Hold
So
on, I'm gonna unmute Courtney so I can get her word on that. Hold on. Go ahead, Courtney. Tell us what you thought about this morning's message. What did you walk away from or walk away with? I'm unmuting you there.
Okay, sounds good. I it truly resonated with some things that Spirit had already downloaded into me through the night, and kind of, I had a beautiful conversation with Minister Felicity this morning, and that conversation was on point. And then I come to this message, and here we are again with more confirmation. So I really love the metaphor. Um, and like you did, and then also just the recharging and knowing what the owner's manual, the manufacturer's manual says about us, that we're getting the proper downloads, and that we're allowing ourselves to come up to a higher place. And I just really appreciated that message, so thank you.
awesome. So here's something else I want to share. So we call them, okay, they're mobile phones, but we call them cell phones. Is that interesting? So this
Oh
object
my gosh.
All right.
are made up of billions of cells,
Mhm.
cellular systems. And so now here's the beauty of that thing. Each cell is connected to source independently, but also as one. And all these cells together make up what you see. But if we get a microscope and we can break them down into all these little cells, But all of these cells work as one, and each cell is empowered. Now, if you have a cell, check this out. Cancer is cells that are not powered with life. And
Mhm.
so we have to understand that that source can change that cell and power it back to life. We just have
Wow.
to trust and believe. Awesome. Anything else,
Love
anybody?
it.
They said you have to charge it up. And I think that that's such a relevant part of the conversation. We just go, 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 just like our cell phones, and we never recharge. I personally am guilty of that. So, can we speak to that recharge and why that's such an important component before we wrap up?
The Bible says, if any man lacks in faith, what? Let him ask. And the asking in relationship, this conversation is it charged back up. And so being connected back to the vine. And so we don't have to go to a wall socket. All we have to go to into our thought processes and realize that I and the Father are one. I'm connected to source. And the recharging is, so we get so busy going through our day, doing things in our own way, working. But the word of God tells us, man, you shouldn't labor. Okay. So you're going to add some work to it, but don't put the horse before the cart. Don't put the cart before the horse. The horse is the horse is the engine. And what is the engine that pulls the cart? Source, God. Make sure that that's out front. And then your cart will get pulled by source versus you pushing it. I like to go back to the metaphor of flow, roll, roll, roll your boat gently up the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is such a dream. Some of you guys say, no, 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 it's not up the stream, right? So why are you going upstream? Why are you pushing against? Let your boats flow. The energy will take you to where you need to get. Awesome. But you got to recharge. Sometimes you got to you got to know when to get connected. And that's what meditation does. Meditation recharges you. 20 minutes of meditation is almost like 4 hours of sleep if it's done properly.
And you can put your phone on a do not disturb feature.
Oh, that's another feature.
Come on, Greg. I recently discovered that feature. I was always afraid to use it. Well, what if somebody called me in the middle of the night? You have got to do not disturb that cell phone like you do that life so that your spiritual health can be at ease.
Now, check this out.
Like the rap album, Courtney.
I like that. Some people never put it on do not disturb because they don't want to miss a call from that person. But
Right.
because you are looking for that call from that person, you're distracted from who you need to be talking to. So when you go to sleep at night, you put it on do not disturb. Or when I'm doing a presentation, I find it's important to put it on do not disturb, because if I'm cooking with fire, I'm in a vein and I'm teaching, and all of a sudden I get an alert on my screen, it pulls me out of that vibe, and now I got to struggle to stay in that conversation while I'm distracted. Do not disturb. All right. Anything else people are doing out there that I didn't mention? That's a good one. Do not disturb.
Right. Felicity just said she's really enjoying this. You know, the analogy is great. I mean, you're really speaking language out here. And I don't think it's an age thing. If I may please pick on somebody, I see Annie P. Clark is here. And that's an older person in the audience, not of the cell phone generation. I'm really interested in hearing how Annie took this message. Let us know, Annie. What are you thinking of this? I'm gonna unmute you right now so you can talk with us before we wrap up. Are you there, Annie?
Unmuted.
There you go.
Okay, so we did not get a telephone in our home until after I was 19 years old.
What's that? Pastor Annie, what is a telephone?
The landlines.
Okay.
So we did not have our own personal landline. However, we were always able to communicate with whomever we wished to communicate. So to me, the connectivity is always knowing that I am always connected to God. I don't have to connect to God.
Yes, yes.
I am always connected to God. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm always aware of my connection, but it means that I am never, ever disconnected. So all I have to do is to refresh or renew my awareness that where I am, God is. So back to when I was a young person, neighbors had landlines that were available to us that would allow us to receive important calls or make important calls from their residence. So to me, that means that God always makes a way for us to stay connected to that which we need to be connected to. And so as we rely and recognize that God is the source of all, that all of our needs are met. So to me, when he talked about downloading, the needs that I had were always available. They were never absent, but I had to request them. So that would be downloading. I had to ask. Then I had to believe that what I asked was in accordance to God's plan. And so I had to conform myself to the plan. And when you spoke of the plan that we choose, I had to conform myself to God's plan rather than asking God to conform to my plan. So I had to ask aright. And then I had to listen, and I had to trust and obey. So this was a good analogy, but knowing that God is, the phones are replicating God's activity rather than God replicating the phone's activity.
Yes.
Amen.
Awesome. I love that. We're, so technology, I've always been keen on technology. As a kid, I had my own phone. I didn't want to have to, because I knew only could be on mama's phone, the house phone for so long. At 5 minutes, and you go to grandmama's house, guess what? You locked out because she got a lock on the phone. And so we got locks on the phone to keep people out of our phones, from using our phones, from using up our plans. So the phones are a good metaphor. So each phone represents you. I am my phone. If I took your phone and looked through your phone, I would know who you are. If I read the texts, all the things that are in your phone is a big snapshot. You will know totally who you are. Like each of you know an aspect of who I am. But if you really open up my phone and see I have groups of friends that I share jokes with, then you'll see another aspect of who I am. So truly, this phone is a real snapshot of who I am. People, you say, give me your checkbook and I can tell you what's important to you. Give me your phone, I can tell you who you are and whose you are by the conversations you have with people. It's one thing to joke, but when things get serious, how do you handle that conversation? Are you sharing the same things that you would share openly as it relates to your spirituality? Do you believe God is the end all be all at all times? This phone will let you know what's going on. Awesome. Anything else before we get ready to wrap up here? We got about 3 more minutes.
Real quick, Marcella said advanced fee. I'm sorry, you all. Marcella says advanced features is love, forgiveness, harmony, joy, and strength. I love that. Advanced features.
Those who walk in the spirit are using advanced features. Now, advanced features, you have to cut them on. They don't just happen. You have to cut them on. You have to go over to your phone and you go down and you go into that section of your phone and you find, the features, and you cut them on and you cut them off. And some people have cut on, they haven't even cut on love or haven't cut on forgiveness. Matter of fact, you got the forgiveness feature cut off and you got it on manual, that you can choose who you want to forgive, who you don't. No, cut the feature on to auto, that you, irregardless of what's going on, you learn how to forgive. Because when you really trust in source, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And and though, even though it appears that someone has won, know this, that things are always working out for you. Even when they don't appear to be working out for you, things are working out for you. Awesome. All right. I love that. Forgiveness, love, forgiveness, harmony, joy, strength. Those advanced features. So here's the problem. We have this powerful instrument. This thing is more powerful than the original computers that used to take up the space of a whole building. That's how powerful these things are. But we have no clue how powerful it is. The same way, you have no clue how powerful you are. But you are. Awesome. Well, that concludes today's message. Is there anything else I need to touch on before we move on?
There is